It's never a good thing when a vehicle's best sales year is its inaugural year. And then every year after that, it's just never able to eclipse or match its first year of sales. We're discussing the Nissan Xterra today, and we have a trademark for the Nissan Xterra. If you want to see competition against the Toyota 4Runner, the new generation coming out, smash the heck out of that like button. I would be, honestly, I'll be 100% honest. If the Xterra gets rebooted, and we have reason to believe it will be, but if it gets rebooted and has that old school charm, feel, and unique identity that the original Xterras had in today's market that is thirsting for such a vehicle, I would rather take it over the new 4Runner. Now, I haven't driven the new 4Runner. I'll tell you more about that as we talk about this video. But if you guys are excited for the return of the Xterra, smash the like button. And maybe, I mean, it's not official yet, but if you watched yesterday's video, we talked about how Acura/Honda revived the RSX Coupe nameplate. That's going to be very exciting. Make sure to check out that video. But the Xterra is one of the missing links in Nissan's current lineup. Nissan, yes, they're in a ton of trouble right now, and Honda is essentially the white knight here coming in to save them from their own doom. Mitsubishi's just kind of like this orbiting moon watching everything play out, but Nissan absolutely needs Honda to save them. But Nissan has some things that Honda does not. They have body on frame, truck expertise. They have V8 engine expertise. That's different. They have rear wheel drive, sports car expertise, especially with the Z. You might be saying, well, there's the S2000, there's the NSX, first gen NSX, but those are exceptions. The Z is, the Z's been around the block a few more times than Honda's rear wheel drive vehicles. I'll just say that. So Nissan has a little bit to offer, but not enough in the modern era, in my opinion. Where's Nissan's hybrids? Where's the Xterra? Well, they might be able to knock one of those things off the low-hanging fruit, right? They need hybrids. They need trucks, or should I say something to compete against the 4Runner, because the 4Runner has always printed money for Toyota, at least in the last 20 years or so. And now we have the Xterra trademarks coming in. Nissan Xterra and Xterra here, renewed on the 23rd of December for vehicles and apparatus for locomotion. All right. Anytime that's class 12, it's typically a car, truck, or SUV. If this vehicle comes back, we're going to talk about what it's likely to look like, be like, behave like, perform like, and then I'll compare it to the 4Runner here that I'll be driving next month in mid-January. All right. The redesigned 4Runner. What are we at? 6th gen 4Runner. And this would be a 3rd gen Xterra. So let's go back in time. Early 2000s, Xterra started production on the 1st generation. I thought growing up, it was one of the absolute coolest SUVs on the market. It had tons of personality, tons of cuteness, tons of capability. Look at this blue one right here. Absolutely beautiful. The double roof line, you had like the built-in roof rails. This thing had lots of clout to it, and it was affordable too. Now you could get it in some manuals, you could get it with a 4-cylinder, you get it in V6. I think, yeah, there were some that were supercharged V6 as well. That's absolutely wild. Then we move on to the 2nd generation in 2005. So the 1st generation really only lived for about 6 years, 5-6 years. Way too short of a production run. This is the one that really shook up the industry and had great sales. And they moved to the 2nd generation, which was bigger, uglier, but I guess you had better and potentially better powertrains here. You had a 6-speed manual. You had a big 4-liter V6, no replacement for displacement, right? But it was discontinued after 2015. Poor fuel economy, bad sales. It was behind on safety qualifications and emissions qualifications, and you can just see the declining sales. All right. In the mid 2010s, it was not the right market for it. In the early in the early 2000s, it was the right market. And then for whatever reason, Nissan just didn't do enough to maybe update the vehicle or capture the charm of the 1st generation into the 2nd generation. All right. And so now we look forward to the next generation, the 3rd generation Xterra. Don't know when it could come out. Maybe 26, maybe 27. They sure as heck have tons of production capacity in Canton, Mississippi, where they used to build the second generation Xterra for a few years. And that's where they build the Frontier. There's no reason they should not be building the Xterra with the current market trends and demands. I mean, Nissan's designs are typically pretty good. I wouldn't doubt that it would look better than the new 4Runner. The new 4Runner's grille is a double mustache. The rest of the vehicle looks fine, I guess, but the grille's just hard for me to get around. I love the Frontier. I like the Frontier more than the new Tacoma. It has hydraulic steering. It has a big 3.8 liter V6 with over I think it's 310 horsepower. I guess I could look at 281 pound-feet of torque, silky smooth 9-speed auto. This is my favorite truck. It rides really well too. You can get great deals on them. Feels old school. It feels like a truck. Now the new Tacoma does some things better, like fuel economy, handling, maybe technology, like the safety technology. But in terms of the essence of a truck, this big V6 just does it better and feels better than Toyota's 4-cylinder turbo. Don't get me wrong. The new Tacoma is light years ahead of the old Tacoma in just about every regard. Maybe you guys might question reliability. I'm not going to go down that route. We don't know what the reliability of the new Tacoma is, but I can tell you that I would have no issues with the powertrain, at least on this Pro 4X or any 3.8 liter Nissan Frontier. This thing just drives so well, and it gives me really strong hopes for the next generation Xterra if it comes out. Now, Nissan's not going to have any hybrids on this. We know they have 0 hybrids in their truck platforms around the world, unlike Toyota, right? But most people aren't buying the Tacoma with the hybrid powertrain in it. And the hybrid powertrain it's a give and a take. You get slightly better fuel economy on it. You get more power and torque, but your towing goes down because the vehicle is heavier. Now, many of you don't know this, and I often forget this. That's why I'm kind of patching it into this video, is that the Xterra still lives on. The Xterra is actually available as a body-on-frame SUV for the Middle East. But it is not really the same sort of Xterra that we got stateside. The Xterra in the Middle East is more of a true competitor to the Toyota Fortuner, which is similar to the 4Runner, but really designed for the international market. A little bit more narrow of a vehicle, for example, but still body on frame, still very capable off-road. Can feature 3 rows of seats, I believe, in certain configurations. And it is body on frame. It's just, man, this thing's pretty ugly looking. And we know if we take a look at the Frontier stateside, right, the Frontier does not have this old V-motion grille. Like, this just looks really outdated to me anyways. I mean, the back end looks like it's not on a body. The back end looks like it's on a unibody, something like a Nissan Rogue or Rogue Sport. The front end kind of looks like an Armada, I guess. If we look at the interior of the Xterra in the Middle East, I wouldn't mind this interior. It looks very functional. We would get a bigger screen, of course, because the Frontier has it. And we could see an optional fully digital screen back here as well. But I don't mind this setup here. It looks functional and simple and rugged. And here's an example of that 3rd row seats. Look, the 4Runner, right, has 3 rows of seats and a better image of those 3 rows of seats. So it's a 7-seater. They still have the pop-down entertainment screen in here, which I actually prefer this setup compared to the headrest setup that you saw in the last generation Nissan Armada. But it doesn't look like it has a DVD player. There's the HDMI port for connectivity, but you can always bring your own DVD player. Here's an example of its body-on-frame architecture. Now, this is something that would not fly here in the United States. Is this engine in, well, I don't know about the transmission, 7-speed automatic. It's kind of pretty much retired here stateside. We saw a 7-speed automatic, for example, in the Armada, but that now has a 9-speed. But if you look here, it only has 165 kilowatts, so it has 221 horsepower. Not going to fly. The Frontier here has 310 horsepower, right? Like 241 newton meters is only 177 pound-feet torque. So this is a naturally aspirated engine here. with 220 horsepower. So just not going to cut it here stateside. This is not the Xterra we need or want for our market, but I just felt like throwing this in here because it is a bit entertaining that the Xterra lives on in the Middle East. I'm going to end it there. What do you want to see from a new Nissan Xterra? I wanted to have the double roof line. I want to have the really tubular and boss roof rack with the Nissan badge up top. Now, will emission regulations allow for that? I have no idea. Maybe it makes it more fuel efficient and more aerodynamic. I have no idea. I wanted to capture the essence of the first gen. So circular headlights, big meaty tires, affordable, but also kind of fill in the gap of the missing 5th gen 4Runner leaving production and being replaced with a Tacoma-fied 4-cylinder turbo situation that I'm honestly, I have to drive it still, so maybe I'll eat my words, but honestly, I'm more excited for a potential Xterra with a big V6, old school feel, old school steering over the new 4Runner. But time will tell. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I got to cut myself off. Peace out.